Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How is it going? Good afternoon. Season's greetings. What other greetings can I use?
Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad. What do you think? What do you think?
Happy
Festivus.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. Yeah, happy Hanukkah.
Merry
That's
Hanukkah.
true too.
Merry
Yeah.
Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Jolly Kwanzaa, whatever you believe in, I wish you a very
And a
happy
happy-
and joyous one.
Yes, indeed. How is it going? Stockton, California. Welcome to the Phonebooth here on TVOSJ, the voice of San Joaquin, and soon to be KBCC 89.5 FM, Tracy, California.
Winding up for it.
It's a long one to go through. Anyways, my name is Ed Heitman. Joining me in the studio, as always, are my good friends and co-hosts, Brian Rodriguez.
I'm not going to say anything because if I don't, you can't move on and he has to stay there forever.
Oh, we're
in
at-
the waiting position.
And Parker Spurlin.
And it's on the table.
It's on the table.
It's on a cord.
You're on a
Get
cord.
it off the cord.
You're on a
Get it
cord.
off the
Good
cord.
evening.
Sabotage. It's sabotage. Not cool.
I can't stand it. I saw you plan it. And I'm going to set it straight. And you all know the rest.
Yes, I'm back. I wasn't gone, but I'm back. Hello.
Back
I'm over there.
by popular demand.
By popular, inconceivable, uncontractable demand. I'm back.
That's not a microphone.
You don't talk into the camera, bud. You talk into the microphone.
Would you stop it? Okay, my friend here is just
Your
lonely.
friend?
Yes, he's my friend. I
You-
call him
what-
Petey.
It looks like the Pixar lamp.
Would you? I mean, he's kind of his brother, but we don't talk
Okay.
about him.
What? Oh,
What are we talking about?
I don't know. There's a
don't
footprint
know.
on his script already.
There's
There's
a-
a footprint on his script.
It's not
already.
even. It's not even 104, and there's a print. There's a what's it called? A footprint.
I don't
on my
think you can get
screen.
mad about that, Brian, seeing as you had a history of taking a bite out of scripts.
That was only when it was earned. This is just complete nonsense and chaos.
Is it
Anyway,
now?
starting off.
Anyways, I still need to get around to explaining what the show is about, I suppose. If you're a first-time viewer and or listener, this is a show completely dedicated to the world of pop culture. Anything from movies to video games to TV shows to comic books, you name it, and we'll do our very best to cover it. Now, unfortunately, we do have a bit of a slow week. As is expected, the holidays are coming around, and with that, there's not really too many announcements or reveals that have come out. Of course, everyone's hyped about a particular film release that came out, and we'll get into that in Sunday's episode. But in the meantime, let's jump into the news. Brian, you take the lead.
Yeah.
Fallout 76, our
Yes.
favorite game.
Yeah.
It has it finally broken completely? Are we done with it?
Wait, why are you asking the question now?
It's
Because
It's been broken.
I mean,
What?
it's been broken, but it's not been like.
no,
You know, gone.
it still lives, but there have been some fun new bugs this week. The first one is one that affects legendary armor. You know, the armor you get in the game that has nice perks on it that you really want to keep in tip-top shape because it's the best armor for combat. It is now bugged so that its quality degrades when you reload your weapon.
It's more. No.
Like that's the sad part. Like that's the most frustrating part because if you've played a Fallout game, you know that deterioration is a huge factor to play when it comes to combat situations.
Downhill slope, down straight to the bottom, going down to the Great Barrier Reef. You see how I did that geographical shout out to the geographics. So
We can't bring up any kind of graphics because Fallout will just ruin them.
Yes. And
16 times
The screw
detail.
up.
Oh, that too. But 16 times the detail.
now, here's another thing that came up this week is what some people don't realize or do but don't think about is that Fallout 76 runs on basically an upgraded version of Fallout 4's engine, which
Yeah.
in turn is the
I mean, it's basically because
Basically-
you look at the game.
it's the Gamebryo engine that they keep updating. Now it's the Bethesda Softworks tool kit Mega Extreme doesn't work for anything.
It just works.
Extreme, like you mean like X Games Extreme, or are we talking like
They're not
it's
that
like
good.
the X Games where someone fails a jump and smashes their face into the ground.
broken femur all the way down to the hospital you go. So that's what we have to look forward to from Fallout 76. Fallout 76, give me money. So
Ooh. Terry
Yeah.
Wells Brown actually just chimed in. Big shout out to you, by the way, Terry. She's she's been really, letting people know about our show and whatnot, and we really appreciate that and everything. She has her own program on Thursdays, Women of Wine Country. It's a great show. Lots of good authors come in, and talk about their books and whatnot.
Yeah,
But she messaged us, letting us know that she just binge-watched the Witcher series on Netflix, and she thinks that it is so good. And you know what? I'm really glad that, you brought that up, because...
I don't want to give out the deets.
The details,
the deets, I only got the deets. But I did watch the first... Before I came to the station today, I did end up watching the first episode, like I was telling you guys.
Yeah.
I watched the first episode of The Witcher, and I gotta say, I'm on board with Terry on this one. This is good. It's looking good so far.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the whole thing, but a little peek.
It looks like a good one. I haven't had the time to watch it yet because of how long each individual episode is. Like the first episode is an hour long.
Yeah. Oh, they're all an hour long.
And with something like The Witcher, it looks so good, but it's something that I don't want to be interrupted while watching it.
Yeah. So we're not going to have a review this week, but hopefully next week
we'll have at least a first episode's review. We want to give people at least a week's time to watch the episodes.
As a peek sneak, it looks pretty good.
But with that being said, we're glad that you gave us the feedback on that, because I myself am not familiar with the games or the books, so this is my first time jumping into the Witcher series in general. So
I read the first 2 books, and I read and I played the Witcher 3 and the Witcher 2. So I'm into it, and from what I could tell, it pretty much follows. Well, it follows the first book pretty much. Down the first episode follows the first book, so it's looking good.
So anyway, getting back to what I was talking about with Fallout 76, is it runs on a modified version of the Fallout 4 engine, which means that players have recently been able to mod in assets and NPCs from Fallout 4 into the servers. Isn't like offline world that they've been able to do this, and this has been in the game. So we've had things like the Pridwin, the Brotherhood of Steel's giant flying airship in the game. We've had NPCs like Preston Garvey in the game.
Now some people...
The settlement needs your help.
Now, some people like me, some people like myself might not grasp the full scale of that because I'm not too familiar with modding. I thought that was just something that you could pull off in any Bethesda game, really.
You can, except for Fallout 76, since it's an always online game. The ability to mod would completely unbalance it more than it is already.
Okay.
But people
not that it's like you said, it's not exactly like this thing's on a perfectly balanced scale. I mean,
yes.
It's like you have an elephant on one side and a peanut on the other, so
But things like the Pridwin and Preston Garvey aren't exactly game breaking. The other side of this is people had been able to mod in, end game weapons, super powerful legendary weapons, unreleased weapons, which harkens back to the days that I think may still be ongoing of people being able to get into the dev room of the game and get any weapon in the game.
Oh man, I loved how Internet Historian explained so perfectly how people were getting into the dev room and pulling out all the good weapons and whatnot.
And I don't know if they fixed that yet. I still don't know if they fixed it.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with anything going on with Fallout 76, a YouTuber, Internet Historian, put a video out on YouTube perfectly explaining everything that has happened up until now. If you really want to find out the details and what specifically happened, that would be my recommendation. That's like the best video out there, I like to think.
Well, you could also binge our show because we've covered.
As it's been happening, breaking news stuff.
The infamous of the infamous.
It's only been 13 months. It's been 13 months
since it came out.
I remember when we were talking about it, and you and I were super hyped about it when it was first announced.
When we were, super interested, and we were excited about 16
times the detail. 4 times the size of Fallout 4.
And all I can say...
Where our biggest concern was, the nuking thing might be a little overpowered.
And that
was our biggest concern.
Remember how later on we eventually just ended up talking about how the whole year rolling over just canceled all the nukes?
Yeah.
And now what we have is a bunch of ghouls sitting around... Well, not sitting because they can't sit.
They can only assert their dominance with the T-pose.
Their dominance with the T-pose. This is like this. Are you afraid, Brian?
I'm about to knee you in the crotch.
Okay. So
Terry Wells Brown chimed in. She bringing up the whole Witcher thing. She said that she would love to come on to the show when we review the Witcher series. And you know what?
And you know what, Terry?
You were invited.
Love to have you.
Need to be careful with my hand here.
Oh, what's happening? You okay?
The hand gesture got dangerous.
Oh.
Let's move on.
Terry, we
would love
invite
to have
you
you.
to come by this next Sunday for no comment when
Yeah.
we review the Witcher series.
Because
You know.
it's gonna be a hot episode. I can already tell.
It's gonna be
You
real
know,
spicy.
It's gonna be real spicy. You know,
Real
We got
spicy
only
indeed.
quality class here on the phone booth.
Now, let's talk about Quentin Tarantino.
Do we have to?
Don't you
Yes.
dare say it about him.
Brian's not that big of a Tarantino fan. Parker and I were huge Tarantino fans. And
Huge fans.
if you've been following any news, you might know that for a while he was planning on working on a Star Trek movie, which threw everyone off because
Very different than what he does.
I mean, because just the two don't seem like something that would combine, you know. But anyways, we have news about that. Quentin Tarantino has announced that he may be stepping away from his Star Trek project,
And
saying he might want to do a smaller movie instead.
That's yes.
You know what? Because as interesting as it would be, like, granted, I would be down for Quentin Tarantino to do a sci-fi film, like him covering space. It sounds possible. It sounds like he could really pull that off. But Star Trek, though,
Yeah.
it sounds like it just doesn't sound like his, he'd be out of his element with that.
I gotta be
space.
honest. I would want to see it just to see
I would
what
just
Quentin Tarantino
exactly.
would do with it.
Just to see how it goes.
Oh,
You know,
alright, yeah.
he seems like the kind of person who would try and focus on some like fringe part of Star Trek that's outside of the general topics and whatnot. You know.
Yeah, see, the problem is Star Trek at its best, and I'm not going to go, oh, it's a thinking man's sci-fi, and it when
There's
it's
elements, but not
a little
really.
bit, but it gets a bit pretentious at times. But I
Well,
will
especially with the
say,
classics.
yeah, I will say that Star Trek is at its best not when it's embracing violence or action, but when it is actually trying to discuss non-violent solutions, because that's sort of that's Starfleet's entire thing. Which,
Yeah.
and and
Non-violence and philosophy heavily resonated with Star Trek for me whenever I watched it. You know?
Yes.
My favorite episode of the original Star Trek with William Shatner. I mean, it's everyone's favorite. It's a classic, which is the one with the Gorn, where he fights the Gorn on. And he has like
Double-fisted punch.
But it was a good episode. It
Yeah.
resonates because it has an interesting, conclusion. Spoiler alert, like 40 years later.
I think it's coming up on 60 now.
Yeah, 60 years. Spoiler alert, 60 years later.
Yeah.
Basically, he said, Kirk is sent down to fight this alien by this godlike being, and they fight, and they kind of come to this conclusion that they're not so different. They were just the Gorn was just kind of protecting its home, and then at the moment where he's about to strike him, to kill him, he shows his opponent mercy, and the god's like, "Why would you?" He's like, "I'm not going to do it," and Kirk is like, "I'm not going to do what you tell me. It's not. It doesn't seem right." And I was like, "Yeah." It was a good episode.
Yeah,
They didn't get too pretentious. It just had a nice little ending. Didn't get, all about, sometimes I feel like it goes a little too Shakespearean with its conclusions,
Yeah. Well, Patrick Stewart doesn't help that because
he is an actual
Yeah.
trained Shakespearean actor. So
Yeah.
But there's something about those old ones that are just as good.
And I just think that Quentin Tarantino, he has a style and people love it, but that style is uber violence and a lot of swearing,
which is a strange place for Star Trek.
It's I just
A
don't
very
think it
strange
would work.
place for Star Trek, because Tarantino can make violence work because he has his views on violence and whatnot, So it's not like over the top for no reason and everything.
But
His style always felt more towards like Western vibes and whatnot. And while we've been given plenty of examples of Western themes working in space, The Mandalorian being a good example of that, I just don't know if that's something that Tarantino would be able to pull off with Star Trek specifically.
Yeah, not in his style, I think. Because while, Star Trek has been known to be over the top, especially the new movies, the violence has never been what Tarantino tends to make his violence. It's always, people get shot with lasers and they fall over dead. They don't explode into gore.
I mean, most of the new movies with Chris Pine were rated PG-13.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
And even those I thought were over the top for Star Trek. Too
Yeah.
actiony, too.
Well, they were J.J. Abrams, right?
Yeah, they were JJ.
Jar Jar Abrams.
I know. We all know how much Brian's a fan of J.J. Abrams and his magical work throughout.
Oh, we'll be talking about him more tomorrow.
Stay tuned, kiddies. I just want to see what Quentin Tarantino. I would just want to see it for just the ability to see Quentin Tarantino do guns in space. That's in violence and
like I think that he could pull off a space western. You know, it's just it has to be his own work.
Just can't
really
be Star Trek.
You know, like how he said he would want to do a smaller movie instead. You know, we actually I'm kind of curious about that. Like if he has plans for a smaller movie, you know.
And on the subject of ratings, you know, PG-13s and R's and PGs and stuff, Bird of Prey officially
Birds of
Prey. Rated R.
Yep.
Transition.
DC's new Harley Quinn movie
and
with a
the
different
fantastical emancipation of
the fantabulous
emancipation of one Harley Quinn. The name is so long.
It's
Is
a Harley Quinn movie. I mean, all the marketing for it focuses so heavily on Harley Quinn.
Like,
I mean,
like the posters and everything. She's dead center with the Birds of Prey just kind of like there.
Margot Robbie appeared in character at the Game Awards to promote the movie, and it kind of makes sense because DC recently said that they used to have 3 pillars that were characters. They had Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Harley Quinn is now their 4th pillar, where their 4 most important characters are Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Harley Quinn.
Yes.
Deadpool.
Marvel.
That's Marvel.
I know, but I feel like she's kind of gotten a tier, like how Deadpool eventually got his own tier in Marvel, really.
Yeah, but at least even with Marvel, Deadpool is still not the main focus.
I can't tell you how much I don't like Suicide Squad, and I don't like the idea of what they were doing with
a lot of people did not like the original Suicide Squad.
I don't like where this Birds of Prey is going. Okay?
I
think it's kind of way too hard to be Deadpool.
Yeah, and see, I'd be fine with a Harley Quinn movie. Just make it a Harley Quinn movie. Don't make a Birds of Prey movie and then just turn it into a Harley Quinn. Because I'd like a Birds of Prey movie too. I'd like a Harley Quinn movie and I'd like a Birds of Prey movie. But I don't think they need to be the same movie.
Like I can't help but get like Suicide Squad PTSD when it comes to this because it's a Birds of Prey movie, but it's really a Harley Quinn movie. Like how Suicide Squad was a Suicide Squad movie, but it was really a Joker and Harley Quinn movie.
Now the thing is, for an uncultured swine like me,
are you using our script as a bib?
I kind of am.
He's using our script as a bib.
Paper cut on your throat.
You know what? A little pain goes nigh far.
He needs to have that proper dinner etiquette to explain this to us.
If you went to a dinner wearing a script with a footprint on it as a bib, you would be thrown out rightfully.
It would be a conversation starter. Hey, it'd be a conversation starter, wouldn't it? Now, you were saying.
As I said, now that I'm cultured again, so I had to put on the culture defense. I'm not as cultured as you guys are in the comic books, and I do not understand what is Birds of Prey. So
he's more cultured than I am in that. So
I will explain the Birds of Prey. The Birds of Prey are an all-female team of superheroes.
Not to be confused with the Gotham City Sirens.
Yeah, that's an all-female team of supervillains. But the Birds of Prey are typically made up of Black Canary, the Huntress, and the third one rotates. Sometimes it's
Detective Montoya usually.
Yeah, it's Detective Renee Montoya as either the Question, as just herself. Sometimes it's Batgirl, Barbara Gordon. Sometimes it's Barbara Gordon as Oracle. It's really usually Huntress, Black Canary, and then just sort of add in your third member. There are a few of them.
And then there was Cassandra Cain at some point, wasn't there?
Yes, and she is in this movie, Cassandra Cain, the second Batgirl. And they are just, an all-female vigilante superhero team.
Yeah.
And they hang out in Gotham, they hang out otherwhere. They're really not that complicated.
Yeah.
But it's an all-female team. It's usually pretty well written when.
Well, the only reason I ask is because Birds of Prey, the title didn't give me a hint into who this was. Superman.
Yeah.
This movie about Superman.
And the trailer, at least the first trailer so far, I think there's a second trailer I haven't seen yet. The first trailer basically did nothing to introduce the actual characters except for Harley Quinn.
Like, yeah, it talked all about Harley Quinn and like the other characters. Like sometimes they'll be talking to her, but it's like you're watching and you go, "Who is that person?"
It's like if they made.
And that's, I think, telling of the priorities of the film, is that the Birds of Prey movie doesn't actually introduce the Birds of Prey other than, quick glimpses, but it spends half its trailer's runtime focused on Harley Quinn.
It would be like if they made a Justice League movie where it focused mostly on,
Yeah.
Focus on super,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's,
and... no.
I think DC, they've had a few successes in the past. They've had Aquaman, they've had Wonder Woman, they've had Shazam.
Shazam? Good movie.
I heard it was a good one.
It's really good.
Joker is, their big R-rated success story. And I think I want Birds of Prey to be good, but from what I'm seeing of it and from what the focus of the movie seems to be, I'm not having high hopes. Because I like Harley Quinn. I do. But I don't.
Character.
I want to watch it mainly to see Ewan McGregor's Black Mask.
Yeah.
Like, when I heard that he was playing that role, and from what we've seen of him in the trailers, it looks like he's really, really putting himself into the role. Like, he just really enjoys being Black Mask.
I really want him to do kind of a little shout out to the prequels of Star Wars where he jumps down and he goes, well, hello there.
I want him to tell Harley Quinn that he has the high ground.
And her to smash off all his limbs with her hammer.
Yeah.
She'll tell him that he underestimates her power.
So now that I'm uncultured again, I'm now a heathen. So let's
Now that you're uncultured, you might fall into line with this next news bit that we have to talk about. You might know that there is a Lord of the Rings TV show in the works. I forget what it was for. It was for Hulu, wasn't it?
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, that's right. And recently there's been a casting call that has been coming out. Now, if you wanted to play as a dwarf or anything like that, I'm afraid that you won't get the opportunity to, because they're looking for more people to play orcs.
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
Well, apparently the studio is in desperate need of more people to play orcs for the TV show. You know, and the requirements are pretty basic. You know, you just got to have like specific facial features that would allow you to look okay in orc makeup, basically.
Which,
You're looking for a 6'8" orc.
It's kind of weird because the way the casting announcement is phrased is it's trying very hard not to say it, but they want
want people who are kind of ugly.
Yeah, and
they want to say it without actually saying.
Yes,
you know.
they want people who look
with
like
certain
orcs in real
physical
life.
features that
Because I just
be a little different than others. That's how they'd say.
I understand that there are some people out there who might lean specifically towards those kind of roles, you know, orcs and, you know, walkers and stuff like that, you know, the monster roles, you know. Like, just imagine if, like, you're somebody who's struggling to make it as an actor and it's like, hey, I got you a role that you might be able to take. What is it?
Yeah.
We need you to dress up as an orc.
I'll do it.
Why? They saw your headshot and said, you know what, you fit the part.
Like, they saw your headshot, dude, you're ugly, man. Like, you got it. You know, you want it.
Yeah, on the one hand, I am glad that there are more roles for less physically attractive actors out there. On the other hand, it does feel kind of sucky to get a role because you are, you know,
well, you know,
less
the sad
attractive.
thing is like, you know, it's not the same thing, but kind of it's in the same premise, which is, so Kevin Peter Hall was the original man in the suit for Predator. Mm-hmm. He's 7'2". He's a big guy, you know, bigger than Arnie, you know, and because he's 7'2", it's very hard for him to get any, you know, acting roles because I mean, he's just so huge. He only had 3 to credit, which was Harry and the Hendersons. He played obviously Bigfoot, the Sasquatch. And then Predator and Predator 2 he came on for. So there's only 2 things, you know, because of his height. You know? It's a sad thing, but that's what happens. You know?
Yeah, Derek Mears, who played Jason in the Friday the 13th reboot from a few years ago, he's like, I think 7 feet tall. Oh, yeah. And I looked at his credits, and a lot of it is voice acting.
Yeah, I mean, they just don't like tall actors. You know? I mean, hugely tall. You know?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. There is kind of a bias towards tall actors. They usually always land the roles as like the slashers in the slasher films and whatnot.
Yeah. And for those, and I feel bad for those who are deemed by Hollywood to be unattractive, you know, and they can only get typecast into like orcs or things like that, just because, you know, apparently everybody in Hollywood, you know, if you want to get apparently everybody in the world, according to Hollywood, is like an Athenian god. So you know.
Yeah, it does seem Hollywood does seem very vain nowadays. Though it does feel like it is starting to change. It feels like it's getting a little bit better. There are starting to get more actors out there that have been getting popularity who aren't necessarily as attractive as other A-listers and whatnot, but they have just as much popularity and everything. You know?
Yeah, I always just feel uncomfortable talking about attractiveness in actors because it's all relative and it's reducing people to just their physical qualities.
So
my problem is not but it's like these high standards.
Oh, yeah.
It's like not attractive, but just, you know, like I said, like an Athenian godlike level. Like, you know, like you look at the statues of the Greek statues and how they're all, you know, buff, perfect, you know, physiques, you know.
In reality, they all probably had dad bods.
Well, actually,
Had the guts and whatnot.
which is what the Romans actually did to correct that. They put a lot of they found beauty in the imperfections in people, and they did that. But anyways, you know, it's like you have to be this, you know, Greek Athenian god to be an actor or something like that. It's like no one's asking, can you act? Can you do this basic? Can you do this thing that we asked you to do, which is, you know, be someone else? You know, can you dive into a character? No one does that anymore. It's like, it's just so bad. And one thinks that, yeah, it's just bad. And that's why Hollywood. That's where also Hollywood. It's also where me and Brian are getting married.
Wait, we changed venues?
Yeah, we changed venues. We went straight. Well, we were going to get married at the.
It's always spur of the moment for me, for some reason.
We were going to get married at the local KFC, but they said we weren't allowed. So we're going to go.
There goes our previous plans. We were going to go for Buffalo Wild Wings, but I guess this is happening.
So
Netflix.
Yes, Netflix.
RSVP at Blockbuster.
When there's something strange in the neighborhood, who are you going to call?
I'm going to call. The government.
I'm going to call He-Man.
Yes. Netflix
He-Man
has announced a second He-Man and the Masters of the Universe TV series. Now, this takes some explaining because this is.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Nope, that's not how that works.
Now you might be confused because you probably heard of one that got confirmed, that got announced recently. That's also coming out on Netflix. It's supposed to be a 2D anime one, I believe, that follows after the events of the old cartoon.
Yeah, it's a sequel series to the original cartoon made by Kevin Smith. This one is a CG reimagining of the original series, and it should also be noted that neither of these are related to the other Netflix exclusive, She-Ra, which itself was a spin-off of He-Man, which has now been rebooted separate from either of these two He-Man shows. So, 3 different Masters of the Universe shows, none of them connected, all on Netflix.
The question is, do I get to see some overproportionate, as Ed said, overproportionately hunky, hot bods on this show?
Well, I did say overproportionate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hot bods.
Considering the one that just recently got announced, there was like an image that came along with it showing like a silhouette of He-Man holding up his sword, and he really did look like disproportionately like buff.
Well, yeah, it's hard to. At this point, that's just part of what He-Man is.
That's what he is, you know. Because I know they did.
Lundgren was playing He-Man.
Because I know they in the early 2000s they did like a cartoon which was supposed to be like a reboot of the classic He-Man show where he wasn't as like over proportionately muscular, and even with that it looks so weird because you can't really separate He-Man from that weird look, you know.
Stocky, buff.
But I find it interesting. I find it interesting because this means that there's now a possibility of 3 different He-Man in Netflix and 3 different She-Ras in Netflix.
Yeah.
He-Man.
And the Masters of the Universe.
It's nonsense.
I thought that was.
You know what else is nonsense?
That was on sync.
Cats is nonsense. Rubbish.
So many people are just.
Oh, and
they're just.
You owe me a Coke.
No, I don't.
Their brains are fried on this.
Yeah, so Cats is already a ridiculous train wreck with a Rotten Tomatoes score currently from critics at 19%.
Woo!
It was at 8% at one point, but it's managed to claw its way up.
How? Just how? How did it get upwards?
I don't know. I guess just more reviewers saw it, and I guess, some people give it 20, some people give it 3. Eventually it'll average out. But it turns out that the version of Cats in theaters for the past few days is not actually a complete version of the movie. It turns out that the version in theaters does not have completed special effects, meaning that some Cats effects are incomplete, like some just have regular human hands, which is somehow, regular human hands on those furry cat bodies is somehow even worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it turns out some people just didn't have CGI on them at all, so in some sense they were just regular people in the background.
With a tight spandex suit on.
Yeah. So now a new version of the film with hopefully finished CGI effects has been shipped to theaters. It won't save this from being complete nightmare fuel that I want to... I can't believe this is a thing that's happening.
Do you think that the cast got to keep their spandex suit?
I would be shocked if any of them did.
I would keep it.
How much do you want to bet there's going to be somebody out there that's using this as an excuse? Like, if someone complains about it, they go like, hey, well, that was just unfinished, okay? That's why it looked so bad.
I don't think there's anyone out there trying to defend this nonsense.
You know someone's using that as an excuse right now.
I'm tired of them taking Broadway shows and putting them onto film.
Yeah, you know what?
I didn't like Into the Woods. I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent. Oh well.
Hey, no, it's fine. I just want to contribute that till today, like, I didn't know that the producer started off as a movie and then a play and then a movie.
I think that's the order.
Because it's Mel Brooks and Mel Brooks just Mel Brooks. So.
Yeah, it's the order's weird, and I'm not sure I have
weird.
it completely right. It may be play, movie.
I didn't like Into the Woods. I didn't like the. These are all movie adaptations I'm talking about, so just get that out of the way.
Right.
I didn't like Into the Woods. I didn't like Bewitched. The Witch. What's that one?
Wicked?
Wicked. I didn't like Wicked. I didn't like.
Wicked didn't get a movie.
Did it?
No.
I thought it didn't. I think maybe just
No, it
Into the
didn't.
Woods.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
I'm thinking of Into the Woods. I didn't like Into the Woods. I didn't like. What?
That's a double vocals happening. That's just the mics. That's just the mics.
Terrible.
Gotta keep them separated a bit.
All right. So I didn't like Into the Woods. I didn't like. What was I saying? Oh yeah. I didn't like Les Mis. I didn't like any. I didn't like.
Rent.
I didn't like.
Phantom of the Opera.
I didn't like Sweeney Todd. I didn't like. The only thing I liked in Sweeney Todd was Sacha Baron Cohen. That was really it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like anything else. I didn't like the only, and I'm talking about the only Broadway adaptation of movie I liked was Chicago with Richard Gere and Renee Zellweger and John C. Reilly was in it too, and I really liked that one. That was a good one. Everything else, don't like. Cell Block Tango, good. Everything else, bad.
I actually didn't really mind Les Mis that much, but it wasn't really something that I was
Russell Crowe singing should be outlawed.
I wasn't really over analyzing it. Like, I was watching it because I was just in drama class, and that was one of the examples that they played was Les Mis. You know,
I didn't like. And I couldn't handle it. I think Russell Crowe is. I don't know who told him he could sing. Who told him that? That's not a good. Don't do that.
I don't know. I mean, Hugh Jackman, yeah, I could see him singing.
Well,
but
he's a Broadway, you know.
Yeah.
Apparently still going on.
Okay, Parker, would you mind checking the mics? We seem to be having an audio overlap here.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Sorry, folks. We had to mess with our audio setup a little for this.
Yeah,
episode.
things are just operating a little differently.
Cut the mics and read.
Yeah, so we're gonna cut them real quick.
Okay. So I just recut it.
Okay, so listening in. Yeah, things seem to be sounding good to me.
Okay.
All right.
So, anyways, I don't like that. The only thing I liked was Chicago. I didn't like anything else, but that's because, well, I just think that it just didn't work. It just didn't work. So it just doesn't work very much.
I'm a very uncultured person when it comes to Broadway plays, so I don't really know like what started off as a play and what was a movie that became a play and then just became a movie again.
I didn't.
So like every time I tried to think of something, like it just seemed off.
Next thing, I'm pretty much anything that comes out, I'm just not gonna do it because I don't like I liked Hamilton. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that's next on the list.
Actually, it probably went for a while, but Lin-Manuel Miranda's first musical, In the Heights, is actually getting a movie adaptation.
Fiddler on the Roof was a good one too.
Did Little Shop of Horrors start off as a movie?
I don't know.
Like that was one that I've been wanting to say even before we did the show, but like I really could not think if it was a movie first and then a play.
And then the idea of cats
just
it's already scary.
Even as those little cats acting nonsense.
I remember cosplay and furries. That's what we got a movie for them. So
I remember being
niche crowd.
I remember being like in 4th grade. I used to go to my great grandma's house, and she used to have a VHS cassette thing of cats, and I didn't want to watch it just because the pictures that were on the VHS tape of the play just looked so freaky to me.
Yeah.
You know, like I was like, what's going on? And no one would ever give me an explanation when I would ask. They would just be like, oh, it's such a good play, you know, but no one would tell me what it was. You're
supposed to just go, it's cats. Enjoy it. And I can't do that.
No.
You know?
I can't enjoy nonsense, okay? There needs to be a point to anything that's happening.
Like me. Lots of nonsense. Not very much of a point to me. So there, at least
this one's normal outside of the booth, kind of.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of decently normal for the most part, like, 50-50. Credit to the 80-20. So, Broadway, don't do it on film. It's not what you do, It's a big oopsie.
If there was a play that you would be fine with being turned into a movie, what would be an example?
Avenue Q.
I would love Avenue Q as a film. That would be great.
Now, what's Avenue Q?
Avenue Q is Sesame Street for adults.
Oh.
It's, other than that, we can't.
I can't say any of the song titles. I can't quote any of it because none of it is.
I think you say "If You Were Gay." That's a.
Okay, yes, that is the one song we can say on air.
Yeah, I mean everything else is I don't know. I can't. It rides a line between vulgar.
Oh, it doesn't ride. It doesn't ride the line. It's fully into vulgar, but it's essentially what would happen. It's a Sesame Street for adults. What happens after you grow up? You're off Sesame Street, and suddenly you have a useless college degree and need to pay rent. What happens there? What's your Sesame Street there?
What's the magic and sunshine and rainbows and optimism going on there?
Yeah. Oh man.
It's. You're right. I would love to see Avenue Q as a film, just to see how that would go. But,
yeah.
Okay. Well, that about does it for our news section. As I said, this is kind of a slow week, but with the holidays rolling up and everything. But what we do have is trailer talk.
Trailer talk, boys. Let's go.
Trailer talk, boys. Now I kind of just wish we had the theme song and radio DJ to play right now, just for that segment alone.
Trailer talk, boys. Let's go.
So in this segment, we talk about some of the latest trailers to have come out within the week and our opinions on them. I jotted down 3 here. The first one is Christopher Nolan's latest work, Tenet. The first trailer plus the prologue. I don't think I've had a chance to see the prologue, only the trailer.
The prologue is being shown before screenings of Rise of Skywalker.
So, speaking of that, I went to go, me and my girlfriend went to go see Rise of Skywalker last night. We saw the 11 o'clock showing, and, we saw that she was telling me, because she had seen Star Wars before me, and she's like, look, there's this movie that Christopher Nolan's coming out. It's that I saw the 10 minutes for, and you're going to see it, and for Tenet. And I was like, and she was like, yeah, it's really interesting. I was like, okay, all right, yeah. And I mean, I didn't before going in. I didn't have any opinions of it. I was like, okay, yeah. But my God, watching the prologue, first 10 minutes. Oh.
So I actually have not seen the trailer for this, though I think it may have been shown at the end of the prologue.
I think so.
Yeah, I think.
There's a little. Yeah, there's like that little trailer.
I haven't had a chance to see the prologue yet because I haven't had the opportunity to watch Rise of Skywalker just yet.
Yeah, sure they'll put it on YouTube.
Yeah, though I have had a chance to watch the first trailer on YouTube, and my God, it is just insane. Its release date is July 17th, 2020. Starring Aaron Taylor Johnson, Robert Pattinson, Kenneth Branagh, and many, many others. Directed by the legendary Christopher Nolan. The synopsis is, unfortunately, there is no synopsis. The plot is currently unknown. The project is described as an action epic revolving around international espionage, time travel, and evolution. Now, one thing that I do want to point out about this trailer, one that I thought was really interesting, was that when I went on YouTube to look for the first trailer of Tenet, like 3 videos down on YouTube, there was somebody that put it up, Tenet trailer played in reverse. You know, like there's a series of events going on in the original trailer, and at the very end of the trailer we see hints of time travel, and then we see the logo Tenet. And this person played basically the entire movie, same structure with each scene, but those individual scenes were played completely backwards. And I kid you not, it worked.
Yeah,
it worked.
I can't tell if Christopher Nolan is a madman or a genius.
You can never tell if it's like if someone is just trolling or if that was something that Christopher Nolan did intentionally.
Which, because a big part of Tenet's marketing and theming is mirroring and reversing. Like the logo is presented as a mirror and a twist. And it would actually make sense. It'd be insane, but it'd make sense if it was somehow the audio and video, if they were reversed, if they still worked with each other.
Yeah, because like the audio itself still works. The audio is playing non-reversed all the way through. Like the trailer itself still plays the way it would with the other one, but each individual video clip is just backwards.
Now, we have a vague idea of the plot, mainly from the prologue. So the prologue, the setup for it is that there is a terrorist attack on the Russian National Opera House, and that there is a group of covert agents that...
But we don't know what they're doing?
Yeah, we know one member of the team refers to another group as the Americans, so it's actually implied that they're not all Americans, that this may not be an American force. But they disguise themselves as Russian special forces and blend in with this just swarm of people coming in to, save the day, supposedly. However, it turns out that this entire setup is for the Russian government to blow up the opera house to kill one spy, one...
ambassador? We don't know.
We're not sure. He's got an American accent, and the covert group is there to save him. They have code words and everything. Apparently he got made, so apparently he's important enough to get rid of that Russia would blow up an opera house full of people to kill him. And eventually, they get him out, but things go wrong. They discover the bombs. They try to get rid of them. And then, as one guy is cornered, something weird happens. The guy that's cornering him gets shot through the shoulder. But it's in a way that the bullet that has already been fired reverses, shoots him through the shoulder, and returns to the gun of another guy standing behind him. Yeah. And that is the first hint of anything supernatural or time travel or sci-fi about this. And it's the only one we get through the entire trailer. And then they leave.
And then in the trailer part on YouTube and everything, we even get more hints of this. Like they're investigating something. They walk into this room and there's just bullet holes all lined along like this bulletproof glass and everything. And they're like, what's going on here? And then our main character says, whatever happened, it hasn't happened yet. And then the elevator door opens up, and then there starts to be like this whole reverse like struggle with a security guard and everything that ends up going into the elevator and whatnot,
And
so
it's the prologue is just so amazing because of how well it's structured, just as sort of this spy thriller. I mean, if there was it on its own, I probably would still see it just from the prologue. But then at the very end, they add that hint of something bigger going on.
And these are spy movies are just up my alley. Like, these kinds of like spy movies, not the James Bond like, ooh, I'm going down the helicopter. Like these one where it has planning, covert operations, and espionage. That is...
And Christopher Nolan's actually pretty good at that, because I remember the beginning of The Dark Knight Rises, no matter what you think of the film, the beginning with the Bane on the plane and all that, that was my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, that was a good scene. It kind of gives me, like, I think about, it's kind of weird, but I think of the movie, you guys haven't seen, maybe you guys seen this one, but it has Robert De Niro called Ronin in it.
I don't think I have.
And it's a spy espionage movie, and that's a really good, like, this guy, I got a lot of vibes of, like, that,
And it's always interesting to see Christopher Nolan play with time in movies, because this is the third time he's done it, but it's still in a new way, because there was Memento, where everything was
it was told forwards and backwards, and and then at the end you meet in the middle of the story.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's because the protagonist is viewing time differently because of basically
amnesia,
retrograde
amnesia.
Retrograde amnesia,
And then so like you'll hear it. So what will happen is it'll be told forward, then it'll be told backward, then it'll be told forward, then it'll be told backward, forward, backward, forward. Then you finally meet up at the middle, and that's the end.
And then there's Interstellar that played with time dilation.
Yeah.
Which is if a second passes on Earth, a year passes somewhere else, or it was the opposite. It's they spend 30 minutes on a planet, it's a year on Earth.
Inception kind of dabbled with it.
Yeah.
In the sense like, okay, you're in a dream. Time in the dream goes slower
with each layer you go into.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about Christopher Nolan really likes playing with time in his films.
I think it's a good way to do it. It makes everything
he always explores it in a new way, or at least a different way.
And so ever since I saw Momentous, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be good.
I like how he handles stuff like that, like dreams and space and time and whatnot, but he does it in a way that feels like it would make sense. It doesn't feel like too ridiculous, over the top. Like they handle it with like subtlety to some.
We can go deeper.
We can go deeper.
Mm-hmm.
Dun dun dun.
Well, I think we're all very excited for Tenet.
Oh yes.
Though there's really not much to talk about except
And
for
Robert
the promo.
Pattinson's in it.
Yeah.
Yes, like it'd be so easy, really, to forget that he was in one of those clips in the trailer.
Yeah, I remember I was sitting next to my girlfriend. I was like, "Wait, is that Robert Pattinson?"
Yeah.
Like, just a quick snippet. I was like, "That's him."
You see him for like a passing glance. It's like, oh hey, look, it's him.
New Batman with old Batman director not doing Batman.
Ooh, I didn't think about that.
No, I bet there's so
Whole
many
new
jokes
perspective there.
on the set. There must be so many jokes about that. On
Yeah.
set. You gotta.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta imagine. It's for the kiddies.
Now, our next trailer is the first trailer for Downhill. It was labeled as like a different kind of disaster movie and whatnot. Its U.S. release date is February 14th, 2020, starring Will Ferrell, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Miranda Otto, and many, many others. It's directed by Nat Faxon and Jim Rash, and the synopsis is, barely escaping an avalanche during a family ski vacation in the Alps, a married couple is thrown into disarray as they are forced to reevaluate their lives and how they feel about each other.
Yeah, I didn't actually see this trailer, but I heard some part of it has to do with cocaine.
I didn't hear anything about that necessarily, but
Maybe that's a different Will Ferrell movie.
well, it might be a part of that movie because Will Ferrell seems to be playing a character who, before this whole avalanche thing happened, he's already kind of reevaluating like his life and everything about it. Like I believe his character often says something along the lines of, "Every day is all we have," or something like that. And then this avalanche happens, and then they survive, and then Will Ferrell's character and Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character seems to be like kind of separate, like their marriage is kind of like tearing apart, and like they're really like thinking about where they are like at that point in time.
No, is this a serious movie or is this a comedy?
It sounds like a dark comedy.
Okay.
I love a good.
Like there's like serious moments in there, but at the same time, like there'll be a punchline just all out of nowhere, And I kind of wanted to talk about it because I do like Will Ferrell and Julia Louis-Dreyfus respectively in their own roles. So it's gonna be nice seeing a movie with them together in it. Now,
Can I?
yes, because I put this one down specifically for Parker. I put this one for you, bud.
Thank you.
For you, bud. Take it away.
Okay, so there's another trailer I saw yesterday. Yeah, you already know what's coming. It's Top Gun 2. Top Gun Maverick.
Yes.
And you know what? I saw the trailer last night again. Wow.
Right?
This looks good. It's gonna be starring Jennifer Connelly, Tom Cruise, and Monica Barbaro. And it's directed by Joseph Kosinski. The plot is unknown at this time, but we all know what's going to happen. We don't need the script. You know what's going to happen?
There's a new volleyball scene.
There's a new volleyball scene, and there's
Tom
a football.
Cruise is
there's
a teacher.
beach football scene, and I'm down for it.
But they're not wearing shirts.
They're not
Are
wearing
they?
shorts.
But here's the hot button question: will they play the song "Playing with the Boys" while doing it?
You gotta know there's gonna be something like that. And Goose's son's in it. We all know it's Goose's son. He looks just like Goose.
I think
and
they've confirmed that it's Goose's son.
And he's got the mustache like Goose. Going very hard on that one.
But dude, just the stunts.
Oh, dude, the thing is, if there's one word, it's two. Well, it's two words. That if I could describe this movie as what it's looking like, dangerously fast.
They're in the danger zone.
It's dangerously fast. Like every maneuver they do, every single.
There was a scene where there was two jet planes flying, and then just another one just comes straight out the tiny little gap between their wings and just shoots out.
Yeah, that's cool. But you know what? Like every turn just feels like a turn.
All of it,
feel
yeah.
The G-forces.
When they do like the sharp 90-degree turn upwards and everything.
When he pumps on the air brakes to get that maneuver where it overshoots the other guy.
That
is just, you feel it.
That very end scene of the trailer where the person walks out and they're watching the jet plane fly right overhead.
Yeah.
You see the impact force just fly past them.
And we see mostly they're in F-15s.
They're in F-16s.
F-16s.
Joshua Hacker just messaged us saying that it was filmed using actual jets.
Yeah, they're using actual planes for this one.
Of course, they can't use fake jets for Top Gun.
Right.
You cannot fake it with Top Gun. This is Top Gun right here.
He's in the F-16 Falcon, which is surprising because that's a one-seater, unlike the F-14D Tomcat, which is a two-seater, which they used in the 1985. But that was used during the U.S. Navy in 1985. This one's used the F-16 is used during now in the U.S. Navy, and I love that they're doing that. They're using the new stealth the new stealth plane. It's
that's
dangerously fast. It's looking faster and smaller than the SR-71.
And it's like he's going up into the upper atmosphere because he's got
the
full
space
helmet on.
I mean, he's going at least 80,000 feet up in the air, and that's high up in the air.
So, Parker, you're the biggest Top Gun fan here in the phone booth. I want your prediction. What do you think the plot's going to be?
All right, so
for Maverick?
here's my prediction. Obviously, we can see that Maverick's come back, but he's going to teach Top Gun. He's going to teach the Top Gun class. Goose's son's going to be a part of it. He's going to be obviously one of the students. I think that that's going to play a role into it. I think that at the end of, I think it's going to follow kind of the same thing where it's it's going to be cool because Goose is now flying. So Goose's kid is now flying against his dad's ghost. So that's going to be like, he's going to have that thing going on. I think there's going to be another competition between one of the other guys in there. But I think that at the end of it, they're going to have more of actual fighting in this movie. Like they're actually going to have dog fights, rather than spending time in the training. They're going to spend a little bit more time on the dog fights.
We do see a jet get hit with like an actual missile, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think this movie's going to be just fast.
Now, Now, the original movie had the backdrop of the tensions of the Cold War as a way to, in the final act, have an actual fight that happens. Currently, in present day, the U.S. isn't quite as engaged in a conflict.
We don't have
like
a superpower that we're going against.
Yeah. So, do you think they're going to invent a conflict, like say with Korea or something like that?
Yeah, and like I was talking about this morning with you guys, I think it's going to be a Korea, like maybe another superpower. I think maybe we'll go against. I don't know if they'll be this.
They can't make it China because they can't risk the box office in China.
I don't think. Maybe they'll make it Russia again. There's a possibility that they're going to do the Russian thing again, especially now with tensions. Tensions are starting to heat up there.
Maybe there isn't a superpower at all in this one, and maybe that's like one of the plot points to it. Is that this time there isn't like a main enemy they're going against this time.
A soldier out of wartime.
Yeah.
So it's a tried and true.
No, that's true. I could see that, but it's Top Gun.
It is Top Gun.
It's Top Gun
to the max.
We're not here to have midlife crisis. Or identity crisis.
So they did have their emotional moments though in the original Top Gun.
But they went back. You know what they did when they had their emotional? They went back in the shit. They went back in the jet, and they flew.
Yeah.
That's how they dealt with it, and that's how I think
the emotional rock music in the background with the riffs.
And Val Kilmer and Tom Cruise flying side by side. And I feel like this is what's going to happen. I feel like we're going to have something like that where, it's going to be pro-America. It's going to be...
it's Top Gun to the max.
You got to remember that when Top Gun came out, that was the biggest recruiting tool the Navy had.
Oh, yeah.
Top Gun. I feel like they're just like, we're going to do that again.
Oh, yeah.
But I think I could see they'll keep with the tensions in the Middle East. I don't know. Maybe they'll have like some superpower terrorist organization in the Middle East where where they have all kinds of super technology and all that. I don't know, but it's gonna be something. It's gonna be fun.
It looks fun.
Oh yeah,
and I think that's about the end of trailer talk, and that's it for the show. Usually we have releasing this week, but
we all know
what came out this week, and we'll be talking about it tomorrow in detail.
Yes,
spoiler warnings ahead of time.
For Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, we will be getting into it. If you tuned into tomorrow's show, we'll have a spoiler warning there.
Spoiler.
But this is an early one. We will be getting in-depth on our thoughts on it.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
Also, maybe we'll talk about Watchmen, because that had its season finale.
Yeah, everything came to an end. It's closing, new beginnings.
Parker, nothing ever ends.
Nothing ever ends.
Don't be nihilistic, man.
Nothing never ends. But we get new beginnings, new chapters. Yes. New chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It always just continues.
It continues and it keeps going. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be looking forward to talking about some of the ends of the chapters and beginnings of the new chapters like The Witcher. Mm-hmm. So, stay tuned. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun tomorrow.
Now, with that being said, we've reached the end of today's episode of The Phone Booth here on...
Or... Is it? So...
Okay, if we're going to go into this thing, Let's talk about the Xbox Series X.
Oh, right, we
Xbox
forgot to mention
Series
that. So
X.
there's been clarification on that name. And it turns out that the Xbox Series is not the name for the brand like Xbox One was for this generation. It turns out it's just called Xbox again. So the Xbox is the brand name, and the Series X is the specific version of the console they showed off.
What?
So it's just called Xbox.
Yeah, so like if the like slimmer digital only version comes out, it'll probably be the Xbox Series S or Xbox Series Lite or
Now, mind you, of course, before this name got dropped, Microsoft had emphasized that its name would have a significant meaning behind the console itself.
That
and we know that, yes, this is part of the Xbox Series.
that it would indicate the purpose of the console. And yes, I suppose calling it the Xbox, the purpose of Xbox is to be
an Xbox.
Which I suppose there's logic there in like a
Utility.
in like a 4-year-old arguing. with
That's
you
like such an
kind of, eh?
that's such an over-analyzing thing, though.
Fish is a fish because of fish.
The purpose of Xbox is to Xbox.
Look, at
Purpose
the end of the
Sunny
day,
D is to have a delightful Sunny.
at the end of the day, it's called a goldfish because it's a golden fish.
Yes.
It's called fish sticks because
I
they're
honest-
sticks of fish. Did you not know that?
Yeah, maybe we overanalyzed it, but I blame that on Microsoft for making it seem like
making
there
it-
was something to overanalyze. It's
Yeah.
just
Well,
called
like
an
when they did
Xbox.
the
They
Xbox- they
told
did-
us to overanalyze, and they gave us such a simple answer.
It's like they're trying to have the Zen Buddhist answer to it, and it's just a gaming console. Shut up.
And I'm a Dudist. I'm all about Zen and whatnot, but this was just ridiculous.
But the thing is they all had. The thing is, to be found.
To be fair.
So the thing is about this is that we thought. So we had the Xbox, the original Xbox. You know, the big one. You know?
The Xbox.
The Xbox.
The Xbox.
The direct
Xbox.
Xbox.
Yeah.
Yes.
The direct Xbox. Now, and then after that came the Xbox 360. I liked that. It was like 360. You go all the way around.
Yeah.
And then you're completely going full circle. You know?
Yeah, it's supposed to encompass everything.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. And the Xbox One makes sense because you go 360, you're at one.
Yeah,
so
it's supposed to be everything.
Full
It's supposed to be
circle.
One.
It's the full circle.
And then Xbox Series X, and it's just Xbox unoriginal.
I think because they sort of
Because
moved.
the one is like it did the 360 and it became one, but it was only one part of a series.
I think it's because the 360 when it introduced a bunch of social features, and then the Xbox One went hard on social features and Netflix, and it's a media machine, not just a gaming console. I think this is signifying that they're going, yeah, that didn't really work. We're just going to go back to the gaming console.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll probably
Good.
be able to get Netflix and Hulu on it, which is nice. But
I mean, we got that on the 360. So.
We're sticking to what we're good at. We're trying to be like little mini PCs, but at the same time we realize that we're more like gaming PCs than PCs.
Xbox made a few huge stumbles this generation, and one of the first ones was just not recognizing that they just needed to be a game console. They didn't need to be a multimedia machine.
Remember when they wanted to focus so much on streaming that at first the Xbox One wasn't going to have any disc games?
There's a story I like to put out there. Okay. It's actually about airplanes. I'll make it real quick.
Of course.
So, some history about this. So, the Navy, when they make planes,
they
love to have a manpower in it, but they don't like to have a lot of electronics in it. The Army likes to have a lot of electronics, but not a lot of man in it. Okay. Mm-hmm. So there was this F1. There was a series of planes that was being made by I want to say Consolidated Evolve did it, I think, and so Convair. They made a plane called the F-111 Aardvark. This was supposed to be the end all be all. It could be used for the U.S. Navy. It could take off from carriers. It can also be used as the Army because it has a bunch of electronics. But it also favors the Navy because it has two people like the F-14 did. Mm-hmm. And it's supposed to be this, end everything. It's supposed to be. General McNamara thought this would be the end all be all of aircraft. No one liked it. The Army hated it because electronics were not up to date. The Navy hated it because it was too heavy. You couldn't take off very well. It could take off barely from aircraft carriers, and it was a big airplane, bigger than the ones that they had. Really take up a lot of storage. Nobody liked it, but it was trying to be the people, the end all people pleaser. You know, the military's people pleaser, and it just did not work.
If you try to please everyone, you
Yeah.
end up pleasing no one.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the end. That is that was the one story I took from like when I was 12, and it's, you know, don't try and please everybody. You're just not gonna get it. You know, you can please some of the people some of the time. You can't please everybody all the time.
And that is a good message for life.
I wish Star Wars knew that message.
And
Hey,
I think
I actually made sense this episode.
yeah, and it's you know what, we're gonna end on this moment of you.
We're going to end it on this moment.
Sense.
With
Thank
that
you.
nice moment. Okay, now with that being said, my name is Ed Heitman. Joining me in the studio, of course, my good friends and co-hosts, Brian Rodriguez and Parker Spurlin.
Investigate 311.
Be sure to tune in every Saturday and Sunday from 1 to 2 here on TVOSJ, the voice of San Joaquin, where we cover all things pop culture related. Anything from movies to video games to TV shows to comic books, you name it, and we will do our very best to cover it. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, please have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful afternoon.